This is the daily video for July 24th. Today's going to be our very first day in Module 3. Now in Module 2, our main goal was we had a statistic and we wanted to use that statistic to estimate the value of a parameter. In Module 3, what we're going to work towards is being able to take a statistic and what's called test something about a parameter. So for example, maybe I don't really care about what the exact value of the parameter is. Maybe I just need to get an idea of where it is. And so an example of this would be, let's say I were running for office. In order to win office, I know that if I win more than 50% of the votes, then I'm going to win. And so really all I need to do there is my real question is my parameter greater than 50%? And so we can use a statistic to test that claim. In other words, we're going to use a statistic to see if the parameter really lives at some value above 50%. But that's going to be more at the end of next week and the week after. There's a couple things we need to do before we can get to that point. And the very first thing we need to look at is what is called conditional reasoning, and that's what we're going to do today. So let me talk just briefly about conditional reasoning, and then also I have some written examples in the folder as well as some other videos for you to watch. We often talk about what's called probability, and probability is the chances that something occurs. And you've actually computed probabilities looking at tables already and probably didn't even realize it. Conditional probability, on the other hand, what that does is it says I'm going to condition on something, or I'm going to be given some information and I want to see what happens to the probability. So one example of this would be, let's say you're walking on campus and I want to know what the probability is that the next person you see is a female. Now we know campus is about 50% male, 50% female, so probably the probability the next person you see is female is going to be 50%. Now what if instead I had said, what is the probability that the next person you see is female given that I know that person belongs to a sorority? So notice I've given you some extra information, and hopefully you would tell me, oh, well, it's 100%, because if I know that person belongs to a sorority, then they must be female, and so the chance there is 100%. So notice the first example there, I didn't give you any information. That's what we just call regular probability. But as soon as I include this word given, or I could have said when the person belongs to a sorority, any of those keywords, and I'll talk more about those in the video, basically what I'm doing is I'm conditioning on a particular idea and then asking you to update the probability or give the probability considering only that particular thing. And so that's what our focus is going to be today, is to understand, conceptually what conditional probability is doing. It's giving you some information and it's changing the value of the probability. And also being able to look at tables and compute these conditional probabilities. Now the first I've done, when you look at the work for today, it's going to look like I assigned the worksheets out of order. You're actually going to want to do them in the order that I posted them. The first one I posted is the easier of the two, so do that one first. The second one is harder, and the reason it's harder is because of the wording. It's a little bit wordier. So I've also included a video there for that one where I work the first two exercises for you. Include those answers in your worksheet, but I work them for you just so you can see exactly what we're looking for there. So as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the discussion board, and I will talk to you tomorrow.